Pierre Poilievre addressed the Canadian people and demanded that Justin Trudeau resign today after protests broke out in Canada due to the extensive damage Trudeau has done to Canadian people. Poilievre explained how the economy is collapsing because of the recent big decision from Justin Trudeau. As Poilievre says, Canadians are in big danger, and that's why he should resign. What's even worse, Trudeau came out and didn't deny anything. He had a very cringe-worthy confession about the terrible job he has done, with his own words. It is a very interesting story development, so let's explain everything. So Poilievre just roasted Justin Trudeau for his acknowledgement of how bad of a leader he is, and how much damage he has done to Canada, and why this is so important that Trudeau resigns. Poilievre exposed Trudeau's horrible job by Trudeau's own words. It happened yesterday after Poilievre shared this video on his channel and titled it, 8 Years of Trudeau, pointing out how bad the situation is for Canadians, because of the horrible job that Trudeau is doing. In this video, Trudeau has a very cringe speech where he says how terrible the situation is under his leadership in Canada. Trudeau said, "Maybe young people want to start a family, but they don't know how they can afford something bigger than a one-bedroom apartment. And with the costs of groceries, monthly bills, and all the other realities of life going up, well, that can make it hard to save for the future, hard to get ahead." And Poilievre responded by saying, "So whose fault it is? Who is a leader of Canada for 8 years? All of this is Justin Trudeau's fault, therefore." As Poilievre explains, Trudeau has done a horrible job and couldn't improve the life of Canadians. Furthermore, yesterday, Poilievre had addressed Canadian protesters from Manitoba and criticized Justin Trudeau for recent decisions. In his talk, Pierre Poilievre criticized Justin Trudeau's government and explained why it's important that Trudeau resigns, saying they made life harder in Canada. As you know, people in Canada got really mad about the government raising the carbon tax. They protested all over the country on Monday, even blocking roads like the Trans-Canada Highway. The government increased the carbon tax by $15 per ton, making it $80 per ton in total. This means the price of fuel went up by about 3.3 cents per liter on average. Pierre Poilievre said it was like a mean joke on April Fool's Day because life is already expensive. He thinks we should focus on positive things like cutting taxes, building houses, managing money better, and reducing crime. Poilievre said Trudeau caused lots of issues that made stuff cost more, made things less safe, and made it tough to find homes. He first criticized a big tax hike by Trudeau, warning it would shoot up living expenses. This would make it tricky for folks to buy essentials like food and housing. He argued this tax would harm seniors, businesses, and farmers, possibly leading to job cuts, driving companies away from Canada, and forcing us to depend on pricier, lower-grade food from abroad. Poilievre said, "Justin Trudeau is imposing a tax hike that will make it harder for people to eat, heat, and house themselves. This will force seniors to choose between their medications and filling their fridge with groceries, a tax that will kill jobs and drive businesses out of our country to the United States." Moreover, a few days ago, Poilievre talked about the current situation in Canada and how because of the recent decisions of Trudeau, life of Canadians worsened, and that's why Trudeau must resign. In a fiery speech delivered to Parliament, Poilievre pointedly laid blame for Canada's housing crisis squarely at the feet of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's policies over the past 8 years. Poilievre accused Trudeau's government of fostering an environment where housing costs have more than doubled, making homeownership increasingly unattainable for many Canadians. He argued that Trudeau's lack of action on housing affordability has led to rampant speculation in the real estate market, exacerbating the crisis and leaving countless families struggling to secure stable housing. Poilievre's critique centered on what he perceived as a failure of Trudeau's policies to address the root causes of the housing crisis, such as restrictive zoning laws, lack of affordable housing initiatives, and insufficient support for first-time homebuyers. He argued that Trudeau's government has prioritized policies that benefit wealthy investors and developers at the expense of everyday Canadians, contributing to the unprecedented rise in housing costs. Poilievre said, "After 8 years with Trudeau in charge, money has been given to local government offices that stop homes from being built. My simple plan is to encourage towns and cities to make it faster and cheaper to get permission to build houses." Moreover, a few days ago, Poilievre said that Trudeau's idea that the budget can balance itself is nonsense. Trudeau's bad choices are making the economy worse every day, and that's a big reason why he should step down. Pierre Poilievre strongly criticized how Trudeau is spending money from the budget and how it's causing prices to go up, and that's why Trudeau should resign. Poilievre said Trudeau's government is being careless with money and spending too much. which is making things more expensive for people in Canada. He said Trudeau isn't being careful with money and is spending too much, which is making prices go up even more. According to Poilievre, Trudeau needs to be smarter about how money is spent to keep the economy stable and to stop inflation from hurting regular people. He also warned that if the government keeps spending too much, it could cause serious problems for Canada's economy in the future. Additionally, Poilievre said Trudeau's decisions about the budget are short-term and making Canada's economy worse. He said the government should focus on fixing bigger problems causing prices to rise, like issues with getting goods and rising energy costs, instead of just doing quick fixes that don't really help people much. Poilievre said, "We need to fix the budget. Inflationary deficits drive up the cost of living and the interest that we pay, and we need to cap spending and cut waste to balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates." And that's it for today. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell.